Hi everyone, Leanne here. I'm hoping you're having a wonderful Sunday. I am. It's been really busy so far. Got up, I want to say close to 5:30 this morning and worked out, did my Sunday morning prayers, which I hope you're all joining me on. Every Sunday on my Facebook page, which is Leanne Thomas Medium, I do prayers. So anyone that wants to join in, all you need to do is type yes. You don't have to say why you want prayers or what they're for. You just type yes and then click like or love, and then you participate in the prayers that we have on Sunday mornings. And there's always power when more people are gathered together. And whether, it doesn't matter that people don't necessarily know what you want your prayers about, but it is a great way to get connected, to focus on your intentions. I always say pray in the positive. So when you're involved in the Sunday morning prayers, take time out for yourself to include your intentions in there. What are you working on? Now, I know I mentioned this yesterday, but we're living in a time, or in a window of time, where actions taken push us forward. This is not a time for waiting or procrastinating or over planning. Now, planning is a form of taking action, and so it's setting things into motion. The energy behind this is very positive, meaning that the actions that you take have benefits and payoffs. So that I hope you're all using the energy going on at this time to help move you forward with what you want in your life, whether it's better health, better relationships, more fulfilling career, more artistic endeavors. All of those things will benefit you greatly if you start taking action, even if it's a small step. What we don't want to let happen with the energy going on right now is to let fear hold us back. That's a big problem for a lot of people. People are hanging on to relationships. They're hanging on to even like clothes in your closet or like old underwear in your drawer, that it's time to let things go. It really is. And if you do it, you will find a lot of benefits from it. Okay, I'm excited today to talk about the afterlife. So that's the purpose of this little video. Today is the first in the 4 series, and I'm going to be talking about the afterlife and where it is, and also life review and what that means. So I hope that you are getting your questions going, and I will let you know when I'm ready to see questions. But good morning, and hey everyone, I'm so excited that you're here. I kind of feel goofy about like how fun this is to reach out and share information, and for all of us to kind of grow together in the process. So, and I really appreciate everybody's patience with how new I am to all of this and learning curves and all that stuff. So, and I just love y'all for it. So thank you. The afterlife. So, where is it? So, I've been shown from Spirit that this kind of analogy, and so some of you, if you've come to events or even classes, you may have heard me talk about this, but you may still have questions about it. So where is it? So my understanding is that the afterlife is in dimensions. And I know that scientists and researchers are getting closer to understanding or finding out where these dimensions are or what's in them. So far, we don't have the science or the capability to really understand it. So if you think about it as we live in 3 dimensions, so height, depth, width, if I can say that word, Sunday morning. So we have 3 dimensions, some say 4, so we could include time in that. And so here we are, let's just say like this plane of existence, my hand is a plane of existence. And there we are in 3D, and we're physical. We're in the physical. Where spirit or the afterlife is non-physical, and it's existing in many other planes, many other dimensions, if you will. And so here they are in multiple dimensions depending on the spirit. And spirit can weave in and out of our dimensions like this. So here's spirit coming and going and weaving in and out of our dimension. And then what happens a lot of times is that people who've lost a loved one, or say even a pet, will have a mediumistic experience, meaning that they might have a smell, or they have a few dreams, or they have an apparition or a vision. So my great-grandmother Walter, when my father passed away, my great-grandmother was still alive, and he was very close to his great-grandmother, grandmother Walter, and he came in an apparition to her. And she was living in Iowa, and my parents were out here in California, and my dad was getting care in California. And she called and reached somebody eventually, and she said she knew that my father, her grandson, had died, and that she had seen him, and he had told her goodbye. And so that's having a mediumistic experience. Now, because that's in my family, I suspect on my dad's side I have medium members in my family that they might not have known what they were, the experiences that they had, or talked about them. And on both sides of my family, both on my father's side and my mother's side, we were Catholic. So it might not have been anything they ever talked about, but she had that mediumistic experience. And so you might not be a medium, but you might have a mediumistic experience through the loss of a loved one or the loss of a pet. So it's those smells or the dreams or the apparitions that can come, seeing some shadows move across the wall. Now, this can also be a sign that you have more spiritual gifts than just an experience, but it might actually mean just having a mediumistic experience, because they're weaving in and out of our dimensions while they're existing in their dimensions. And it depends on the soul or the spirit, the dimensions that they are living in and are existing in, because their spirit, their energy, they're non-physical, so that they can exist in many dimensions and more than one time. And so it just depends on the soul and the evolution of their soul, how many dimensions that they would be able to access. And that's how I've been told by spirit, and also with my work with the angels and the angelic realms, because the angels can go into or experience almost all dimensions, which is a very exciting thing to know. And when I'm on Coast to Coast AM radio in December, which I'm very excited about doing, I'm going to be discussing all about the angels and who they are and all of these kinds of things. So that's going to be for that particular show. But if you have questions now about where is the afterlife, and even how those in spirit interact with us, let me know. But while they're existing in multiple dimensions and weaving in, like I see, it's like an analogy would be, here we are in our dimensions, here they are in many dimensions, weaving in and out of ours. You have a mediumistic experience because of a loss of a loved one, or someone like me, a medium, can latch on, link into, and connect to spirit, and then be able to pass on messages, and then be able to do this in somewhat of an organized fashion. Even a medium, we don't control spirit, we can't control who comes through in a reading, or even what they have to say, but we certainly can interact with them. I think of myself as an expert interviewer, somewhat like maybe the Barbara Walters of the spirit. Like, I'm the earthly spirit form, and I connect to them, and they connect to me and link into my energy, and then I work very hard on interviewing them, finding out information, so that when I'm passing information on to whoever my client is, then they're receiving the essence of their loved one, more than just say little pieces of evidence. The essence of a person comes through when I link back in and I do my part, which I love doing. So What is a past one's role in our lives? That's a great question to ask about. I've had people ask me, like, why do they come forward? Why would they bother? They're in the afterlife now. Why haven't they moved on, if you will? Well, the answer is fairly easy. Why? Is because they love us. And even if they made a mistake and they weren't the most positive or loving person in your life, maybe they were an abuser in your life, and they still decide to come forward to, for whatever reason, give their apologies, or it's because that love is really the only thing that exists in the spirit realms of the higher or the light forms. And they lose that anger or that bitterness or that the struggle that life was, perhaps, and then want to convey to us because of love. Let me see if I can. And their role in our lives are cheerleaders, we hope, or maybe they want to give back because they didn't do a good job when they were here with us. Or in the case of my dad, he passed too soon. I was little. I was young. I was 2 years old. And so I know he steps forward to come back to give because he wasn't able to be here and give in the physical. So there's so many different roles that they take in our lives, our loved ones in heaven. It's dependent, just like on the loss is dependent, just like on the individuals we're all different, and our souls carry a lot of that with us even to the other side. So that's a beautiful thing. So as far as where they are, think of it in dimensions. It's not just up in the sky or there. I feel they're always right here with us, but we're not experiencing them the way we experience each other in the physical because they are non-physical. But they are not gone. They're not far away. That's how they do know what's going on with us. That's why they'll want to say things like, happy birthday, or they'll talk about like a dentist appointment someone has. I'm always amazed that I hear anything about teeth or dentists because I'm not a fan. Maybe that's why. They'll bring forward daily life stuff, changes that are going on in someone's home or moves that people are making. They'll want to reflect on what's going on with us because they're right here. They really haven't gone far. And it's a transition of energy that nothing ever really dies. Now, we know that that's true. I mean, science has proven that. That's not something woo-woo. But what the mainstream world doesn't understand yet, or mainstream science perhaps, is that they're right here and they're living in dimensions, and because it's energy, it's hard to find or trace. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions about the afterlife and where it is, or how spirits explained it to me, I haven't really heard anybody else talk about it the way that I feel like I've just described, but certainly I don't think this is new. Maybe I just haven't seen it. I do want to talk also about life review, and what happens fairly quickly once we cross over is we do experience a life review. So we experience our life and the way we lived it through our eyes, and how we had experienced it, to how everybody else that we've encountered in our lives experienced us, from the very small encounters to the large ones. Now, spirit moves because they are, and even us, ourselves, once we leave our physical body, we move at a higher vibrational rate. So everything happens, or what I've seen them show me, it feels like it's happening so fast. But we're dense. Not dense meaning not bright, but we're physical. And so non-physical, they're free of the slower or the dense pace that we move in. And so you would think experiencing your life over and over again from other points of view, or other people that knew you or experienced you, would take a really long time, of course, depending on how long you lived. But it certainly happens much quicker for them in their perception than it would be in our perception. I want to see here what Tina Thank you, Tina, for being here again, and for all of you that have come in. Like, this is like really exciting for me. Tina says, I had my Nana tell me that she didn't like the placement of where I had my memorial shadow, the memorial shadow box was placed. It was so interesting, but I loved it. Came home and moved it. Yeah, this is Tina, like that's an excellent example of how our loved ones will connect to us to let us know that they're still around with us or watching. And it might have been almost a joke on her end to get you to hear what she was saying and then for the connection being made. I do feel like your grandmother is a form of a guide for you. And I did in my video about angels, spirit guides, and our loved ones talk about how they come in and want to help us out and cheer us on. She's probably helping and support even your spiritual development. That's what it feels like to me. And way to listen. By the way, who here hasn't, including me, discounted a feeling, a message from spirit, whether it's guides or a loved one, and then later to regret not paying attention to those intuitive connections or hit? Like that's something that we should strive to do. We tend to get in our own way that way, don't we? Sarah's asking, what are the signs that they are present? That's great, and I did talk about signs somewhat in the video I did on this, but the signs are personal and it can be anything. There are very common signs, Sarah, that we get from spirit, like leaving of coins. I get them, and I will get coins that I will be in my home, sitting in a spot. I'll get up to go to the kitchen to get something to eat or drink. I will come back, and there will be a coin either next on the couch to where I was sitting or on the floor. And there wouldn't have been a way a coin could get there. We'll get feathers in our path. I get ladybugs. So I have ladybugs show up. I've even had them when I've been giving phone readings upstairs, crawl out from under my bed. And what would a ladybug be doing crawling out from under my bed while I'm giving a reading to someone on the phone? But you want to use that, guided meditation that I have on my website. I have a free guided meditation that you can click on and listen to from my website that also helps you get connected to your loved ones and for you to start to learn over time. It usually takes more than one listen to a guided meditation to really get your sign or symbol. Some people get it right away though, but you might have to listen to it a few times before you really feel you have your sign or symbol. But I have a meditation that you can be guided through to begin to do that. And how we know that our loved ones, we need to start to accept. And that's the best way I can say that the signs are being left. You pick up that penny or that dime that's on the ground, and then you thank your loved ones or your guides for it, and you participate in building the energy of it. And so that's one of the things that I think is the best way to get that connection going. Okay. Oh, Elizabeth writes that she gets spiders and hummingbirds. Interesting thing that I have been getting spiders in an odd way myself. When I did the charity event on October 1st, there were spiders all over the room I was in. And it didn't bother me, so I don't want to say like it was bad or creepy, but when I came home that night after the event in San Juan Bautista, there was a giant spider, and by giant, not tarantula size, but really big. So I might be sounding a little, exaggerating here. But there was a big spider there, big enough for me to call my husband to take care of it. So, and they are creativity, and spiders can represent grandmothers, which is interesting. And I love that you guys are putting on what your symbols are here, like the different things that the symbols are. Now, to get connected to a loved one in spirit, it's like what I was talking about. You watch the other video that I put out. You have to build a relationship. You want to build that relationship. So it takes effort and it can take some time. It's not easy if you've lost someone, and I know what that feels like. it's not easy to feel motivated or energized to sit and meditate or to do the work for that. But ultimately, you're developing a relationship with a spirit or a soul, and they no longer have a voice box. They don't have hands or arms. They're energy. And so the way you connect or reach out to them has to shift and change. It's just going to be different. So there's no other way around it. You have to quiet the mind in some way to be able to connect, whether it's through, meditation, or whether one of the things that I do at times is like, I will start doing yoga, and that will help me make a connection. So it doesn't always have to be just sitting somewhere quiet. So I want to say that. So the life review, it can be a very intense thing, but it's never meant for punishment. It's never meant for harming. When we cross into the afterlife, one of the very first things that happen is we experience that life review. And we go back and we live our life over and over again through the eyes of, or the perception of, other people in our life. And we wake up to our influence in other people's lives, whether it was a positive influence in their life or a negative one. And we all have a variety. We all have a variety of, participating in negative experiences with someone and then positive ones. But we all go through this. And the purpose of it, that's really the point here for me to get to, is the purpose of a life review is to learn, grow, and evolve our soul. And we don't always realize that we're working with just our very singular perception on life and how life is and our experiences in life and the things that happen to us, and whether it's tragedies in our life or it's really good or happy times, and we'll go back and we'll see, wow, I was really focused on victimhood, I was really focused on negativity or how hard life was. Or the opposite can be true with some people, or we'll see our lives in periods of times that way where life was a real struggle and I fell into the trap of believing that life needed to stay a struggle. So you have in any given moment, the opportunity to lift your attitude, to lift your thinking and your mindset. Now, in the midst of tragedy, we're going to experience whatever that is. But how I approach it can be from a victimhood mentality, or it can be from a perception or from the mentality of, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to rise through this, these people are supportive in my life, these are, we can look towards the gratitude of something even within a tragedy. Now, I'm not suggesting that if you've had a horrible or tragic loss, that you should be happy about it. That's not what I'm suggesting here. What I'm suggesting is that we all have an opportunity to move through tragedies, difficulties, challenges in our life from a perception of learning, growth, forward moving. We can see it in people. There's millions of books written about this, about people who've befallen horrible tragedies to find the lesson through it, to find the growth opportunity in it, and to embrace what happened and not let it hold them back in their life. Everything from people going through and experiencing divorce situations to losses of a loved one, whether, whoever that loved one might happen to be, or other life experiences that can be very difficult to handle. So how you approach it, you want to approach from the highest possible perspective. It's always reaching for it. We all deserve our day, our pity party, but staying there really does not serve you or your soul or even other people in your life for a prolonged period of time. It's one thing to have to go through a healing process and for a couple of months or even into a year. And I always say that we never get over the loss of a loved one. My father died when I was 2, and I'm not even 30 anymore. I'm not even 40 anymore. So, but I've never gotten over it. I've never gotten over the loss of him. And I don't think anybody should tell me to. No one should tell you what to get over the loss of. But what you don't want to do is let it stop you from moving forward in your life, from having joy, from experiencing new things in life. So I'm not suggesting to let go of and forget about the loved ones in your life that have passed, but certainly not holding on to it for any significant period of time. Okay, so I covered the afterlife and where is it, from my perspective, my understanding, what Spirit has taught me, and then the life review. So if you have any questions about either of those topics or something that I might have left off, ask your question now. I just want to say too, while you're thinking of your questions, and I'm waiting for you here on Facebook, that I really appreciate the support, the coming on and listening to what I have to say. It means everything to me, and I really hope that you'll go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I know that sounds like a shameless plug, but I know the more subscribers I have, the more that I can reach people, and that I really feel that there's something that I have to offer that can help people understand spirit, the spirit world, spiritual development, growth. I'm going to keep teaching and putting videos up on YouTube. Obviously, there's no cost for that. It's because I want people to have opportunity. So Tina asked another question here. She says, Leanne, do those who passed hold grudges for the things we didn't do while they were still here? So that is a yes and a no. So that no, most spirits do not hang on to grudges that have passed into the light, that have gone on to experience their life review and to seek growth with their soul. A lot of times growth with their soul comes with a level, even on the spirit side, of working through forgiveness. And so they don't hold on to grudges. Now, in a reading, they may bring it up. They may talk about being disappointed in something, but they're still not going to hold on to that grudge in the afterlife. There are lower level spirits, or spirits that choose not to go on or pass into the light, that do hang on to those grudges. So that's a great question, and it's a very pertinent one here about the afterlife. So thank you for that really great question, Tina. They just don't. They don't hold on to grudges in the afterlife once they've crossed into the light and made their connection back to what I call heaven. Okay, Elizabeth asked, is there anything with which we can't or shouldn't ask our guides? I can't think of anything that we shouldn't, unless it's about harming ourselves or other people. Now, you can ask your guide for help or support in any area of your life that you want, but I've never experienced them wanting or offering or lending support to someone that wanted to harm themselves or other people. So that's the only thing I can think of in this moment. But there might be more things that would come to me, like when I'm having lunch later today. Gwen asks, if two people had conflict here on earth, will they have that conflict with each other in the afterlife? You know what? No, they don't. When they cross over into the light, what happens is I've literally seen two souls high-five each other. Now, that might have been symbolic, but I really saw the energy of them high-fiving each other, and they were two people that had a ton of conflict. But what they had come to see is their role to play in each other's lives. They were in each other's lives to cause conflict and issue, to help each other grow, to learn to put petty things aside, to learn to accept and love and work in forgiveness in the physical world. And they didn't get it right. They just wreaked havoc on each other's lives. And then on the other side, they could see the lesson in it and how they were both trying to help one another. So they don't really keep conflict on the other side when we step into the light, because the lessons are presented and we work towards and evolve towards accepting the lessons in any given lifetime. Maria asks, and you're welcome, Tina, how would you respond when one tells me I'm disturbing my loved one's soul and I should let them rest in peace? That's a religious mindset, and I wouldn't respond. unless you really feel you have to. That's such a great question. I've had people tell me that they're right here, first of all. They're not off somewhere far away from us. And the way time and energy works is different than how we experience it here in the physical world. So they're not disturbed by anything or for us asking for their support or even connecting them. And as a matter of fact, they're constantly trying to connect and reach out to us, show us little things, leave us signs and symbols. They're that little voice in our head, our loved ones are at times, that are cheering us on to do something or try something or be kinder, more gentler with themselves. They're there for us constantly and all the time. But if someone has a religious perception on something, I just don't feel that it's probably worth it to get into that argument. You kind of can't win with someone's religious beliefs, and I really don't feel like it's my job to change anybody's religious beliefs. I'm just here to share what it is that I know. I'm going to move on and do things in my life that I know to be the truth and from the highest intending perspective, and I'm going to respect other people's beliefs and what they believe to be true as well. If they don't respect my beliefs and what I think, I don't have to engage in a conflict or conversation. I can walk away. I can just let them know that I believe otherwise, I respect their beliefs, and move on. You want to handle it with as much dignity and respect as possible, because some people aren't going to be able to move past their religious upbringings that control and perhaps have kept them in that place. Don't engage in something like that unless you have to. I would choose not to respond, or respond as politely that I wasn't going to respond as possible, if that makes sense. I hope that helped. Sherry asks, why won't my mother, who was murdered, not want to talk to me or a psychic to try and help her find and get justice? She might have let go, Sherry, of the idea of needing justice. She might see a bigger I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just sharing a perhaps, a maybe, since I don't know why. But perhaps it could be because she no longer was connected emotionally or even spiritually with what happened to her. She might not feel the need to get justice. Also, she might not want to put her family through that. So, and it could be because it's been so long. Maybe because it's been 33 years. Or maybe it just hasn't been the right medium. Not everybody's a fit for everybody. I think that's the misnomer with some of this work that we do, that every medium or someone that's a true or genuine medium can read for every person. And that might not, I don't think that that's true, but I also don't think that that means that, say, a medium that can't connect or bring forward, say, your mom or the messages that you're wanting to hear, that doesn't mean that person's not good at what they do or that they're a fraud. It just might not be the right vibrational fit for everyone concerned. So that could be a possibility. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. I've seen over and over and over and over and over again those in spirit that have been, say, murdered or had other very tragic things happen to them, been the passenger in a car where there was a car accident, and then, they died. They want for us in the living to let it go. They want us to become at peace, to move forward with our lives and not to continuing to pull up drama in our lives. And they don't always necessarily feel the same way about it. Some do. I've connected for someone before that father, they thought committed suicide, but was clearly murdered, was able to give information where that they could go back and take a look at that. So it's just dependent. It's who knows why. The afterlife becomes a place of healing, growth, and love. And if your loved ones think that you won't be able to have peace or get love or something, it might be a reason why. Okay, Debbie asked, but thank you for that question. It's a great one, Sherry, and God bless you. I'm so sorry for your experience or your loss. That's not easy, you know. No matter how we lose our loved ones, not easy, you guys, but through a senseless, evil tragedy to lose someone, it's got to add some kind of a layer of pain to it. So my heart goes out to you, and my prayers go out to you, and all of our prayers go out to you. Debbie asks, if there are different levels in heaven, are we not with our family? Typically we are with our family, but not everybody's family is, mostly people do go back and very clearly, even if you had a conflict or a lot of problems with the family member, man, you go over there and you're like, dude, you totally taught me lessons. I wish I would have learned it better. I wish I would have got past myself. Thank you for making my life difficult or hard. I mean, we see it differently when we're over there a lot of times. But we do tend to be with our family. It's very rare when we're not. But if you have a family member that decided not to cross in the light, then yeah, you're not going to probably be with them, because I'm pretty sure, Debbie, you're going straight to the light one day, my friend, a long time from now. So typically we really are. So I don't think anybody needs to worry about that. Any loved one you would want to be with you would be. And we tend to be in many dimensions, not just one or two even. So we meet up with them. We do other things. We grow our soul. We meet up with loved ones and those that we had past lives with that we didn't in this life. It's all very fun and interesting and exciting. Okay, thank you, Maria. Yeah, about religious mindsets can really get people hung up on things, and they just so need to be right. Don't get in the argument. Just hold on to your faith, your beliefs, and what you know to be true. And Tina has another question, but I love it. It's not a silly one, I'm sure, but let me see. Maybe. No, just kidding. Can one's spirit be in more than one place at one time? Yes. Even those of us that are in, this is kind of a woo-woo thing out there, so we can be dimensional travelers even while we're still in physical. Have you ever gone into a room? This happens to me like all the time when I come downstairs. So I'm upstairs, I'm doing something, but I need something from downstairs. I come downstairs and I walk, say, into the kitchen or the living room, and I'm like, what did I need? Like sometimes we'll cross dimensions and we'll come right back. We won't know that we went, and we'll have like a brain fart moment, if you will. Those can be dimensional crossings when we're even in our physical body. And from the spirit world, the spirits they can be passing messages along to me, and I'm giving you a phone reading, and they're standing right next to you. So it's definitely possible, because energy isn't static, but it doesn't mean that their soul then becomes pulled or divided, torn, cut, and no. It's just that that time and space doesn't become a hindrance. Hence the kind of hard to find with science where spirit would be. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Thank you for saying not everyone is a fit for everyone. It's so true. I think that we get hung up, and then if we're a medium and we don't give someone like the best reading ever, or, something that we're so down on ourselves, or we feel like we are a failure. And yeah, because we're conscientious, loving human beings. People don't go into mediumship to become rich. It just doesn't really happen. It's an act of love. It's an act of giving of what we do, and we want that for every person to have a beautiful, a loving, a healthy experience. But it's maybe not a vibrational match for everyone. And that doesn't mean that the medium's a bad person, or that something's wrong with the client. No, there's just sometimes that happens. Yeah, okay. A couple of times she has said to them, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, no, I've had spirits tell me that they don't want to speak about something. A client has a question, they want to ask their loved one about something that's going on in their life or something that's happened, and they don't want to talk about it. It's difficult to make a spirit say something that doesn't want to, and the reasons there can be a million reasons why. It's just so dependent on the situation, the scenario, the person, and the living. because your loved ones really want what's best for you. And so they might have a reason for not talking about it, and sometimes we need to be okay with that. I don't know, that's a hard one though. Just sending so much love to you, Sherry. Just know that I'm going to be thinking about you all day with love. Alrighty. And the afterlife is fascinating. And here's the thing. Here's the thing I didn't mention. We all go. Well, while we're still alive, while we're sleeping, we're meditating or resting, our soul can actually go to the afterlife. It can go to the different planes or different dimensions in the afterlife to connect to loved ones. Some people have I've had many real experiences that are vivid and I know happened. It wasn't just my imagination creating it through meditation. I've also had many, many dreams where I've gone to the afterlife. I've even helped other people that I have no idea who they are. I don't have any idea who they were in the living, and I don't feel like I have any connection to them soul-wise, but my soul has helped them cross over and make it into the light while I was sleeping. So we do go and make connections to the other side while we're still in physical form or in the living. And everybody does it. Everybody does it in their dream state at some point or another. Most people do it most nights. And some people remember more than others, and other people have no memory. They would swear that never happened to them. But it does. It's usually the astral realms or the astral levels that we travel to or journey to while we're still in physical. And our loved ones very easily can come forward and we can have a real experience with them. So that's another part of the afterlife there that I want to mention. But I want to thank everyone for coming. And I really hope that you have a great Sunday. I hope you've taken or you can take something away from the chat that we had here and be at peace in some way. Now, I've had losses of loved ones in my life, very significant ones, and I know most of you have had as well. I take that very seriously. Know that when I talk about the afterlife and I try to be lively and bubbly, it doesn't mean that I'm not compassionate, loving, and I just want you all to know I'm thinking about you with love. I hope you'll join me Sunday mornings on Facebook to join with me and then those who are there in prayer. And I just ask with all my heart that you'll go and you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. All you have to do is go to YouTube and put in Leanne Thomas, and you will see there and some of the other videos that I have up. And I appreciate everyone's support. I want you to have a wonderful Sunday. Do something nice for yourself. And remember, we have this energy of doing. Do something. Do something that will make you feel like I'm moving forward in my life. A career goal or dream. Sit down and write. Do a meditation today for the first time. Go to my website and do the free meditation that's on my homepage there. Do something that moves you forward, that makes you feel like life is going to move forward for me in some way. Use the energy that we have. I will be back next Sunday. I'm going to talk about heaven and hell. Woo! And who goes there. So, as we get closer to Halloween, I thought it'd be fun to have the conversation about that and talk about heaven and hell next week in the Afterlife series. So thank you all, and happy Sunday, and all my love from my heart to yours. Take care. Bye-bye.